Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 5th, 2023 Town Board meeting. Will we all please rise for the pledge to the flag?
Yeah, this, huh?
Sergio, would you lead us?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we all just remain standing for a moment of silence? And please keep in your thoughts and prayers all of our first responders, police, fire, ambulance, EMTs, paramedics that serve us on a daily basis and get us to the hospital when we need to, and also for our brave men and women in the armed forces who defend our freedoms daily. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
All right, from my right, introductions.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Councilman and Deputy Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
Town Supervisor Tom Diana.
Councilman Sergio Esposito.
Councilwoman Luciana Howitt.
Town Attorney Adam Rodriguez.
Mary Capocci had a family emergency she had to take care of tonight, so she won't be here with us. But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Glad to see everybody's back. And I just have a few things to go through. Well, first of all, I want to wish all the kids and the teachers a safe and successful school year. And please, please, please be aware and cautious when driving, as school buses are out there. The kids are crossing the streets and they're waiting for the school buses. So, give them a break. Don't forget to stop for the buses when you see the red flashing lights. The life you save might be one of these nice young children that are right here, number one, okay? Well, as everybody's probably seen, or most people have seen, the Feast of San Gennaro is coming back. It's starting September 13th through September 17th, right across from Railroad Park. Anybody that's gone through at night, you see the lights are up. It's really starting to look a little bit festive, and that's a great thing. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for this. First half of the school taxes are due by the end of this month. They will be mailed out on Friday. The town 9/11 ceremony will take place at the 9/11 Memorial next to the John C. Hart Memorial Library at 4 p.m. on 9/11. So that's always a nice ceremony. It takes about a half hour, and we will never forget. We are still confirming whether we're going to have the illumination of the light towers. We can't pin down the gentleman that usually puts them up. He hasn't gotten back to us at this point, but we're anticipating that he will. And if he is, we'll get it out on Facebook, on the town webpage, and I'll get it out on Nixle. I've been utilizing Nixle a little bit more for some of the reports that we have to get out to folks right away because it seems like it's pretty effective. By the way, if we're going to do that, that's going to be at 8 o'clock on 9/11 at Granite Knolls. Once again, 8 o'clock on 9/11 at Granite Knolls, and that will be for the illumination of the lights. The senior advisory meeting has been moved to Friday, 9/22, out of respect to the people who celebrate the festival of Rosh Hashanah. And then this Thursday, 9/7, the town will dedicate the Drug Epidemic Awareness Memorial at Patriot Skate Park. The memorial fence will serve as a reminder to our community about the tragic realities of addiction, as well as being a place of solace for those that mourn loved ones who may have perished from that terrible disease. Okay, that's all I have. Ed?
What time is that dedication?
Oh.
6 p.m.
Okay, 6
Thank you,
p.m.
Sergio.
Serge is he's spearheading that.
All right. Well, now just really three things. Veterans Advisory resumes this Wednesday at 1:04. Our Veterans Advisory Meeting is held at the Albert A. Cappellini Community and Cultural Center in room 104, 7 p.m., the first Wednesday of the month. The Sons of the American Legion will resume their meeting schedule. That's the first Thursday of the month, which is this Thursday the 7th, 7 p.m. They have a little social, and then 7:30 for the meeting. And in order to join the Sons of the American Legion, you need to be a son or grandson of someone who served in the United States military. Anyone interested in joining can contact the Sons of the American Legion or ask me, and we could get you an application. And then I had the Senior Advisory Board. Tommy got to that already. And, just to reiterate what the supervisor said, because unfortunately I see it way too often, you are supposed to stop either way when there is a school bus passing, and it is illegal to pass a stopped school bus on either side with the red lights blinking. So please show the respect for our children and the law. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ed. Sergio.
So going back to the overdose memorial, it was. I think it's something that's going to be quite a quite solemn ceremony. We're dedicating the fence. The fence, I wanted to give a shout out to Salem Fence. I called them because I was going to pay for the fence, and we were going to split it up here. And when I called Salem Fence and I asked them how much, he asked me what it was for. I told him. They said, we got it. So true community partners is what we're looking for. That was really big of them. And I got to tell you, they were there almost overnight. We asked them for a heavy duty. The guy who gave us heavy duty, just great people. So they deserve accolades for their contribution to this town. On September 8th and 9th is the Grange Fair. So that's going to be a great event. The Grange always does a great job. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of an overlap. I'm going to be at both. They're certainly going to be at my event. My event is the cops versus the kids. Tommy, can we get a zoom in on this, please? Basically, this is our 7th annual Cops versus the Kids. The money goes to support children with life-threatening diseases and their families. It's a great event. The Yorktown PD is always very excited about it, and they're playing the Yorktown 10U Huskers in a battle for bragging rights, is what I like to say. The money is going to go to Camp Sunshine. Camp Sunshine is a retreat in Casco, Maine. It's on Sebago Lake, and what they do is they have different weeks, and they bring up children and their families that are suffering or going through the same type of illness. So this way there's some camaraderie and they could give each other comfort. But the place is like an amusement park. It's really, really exciting for the kids. And, I know I take it for granted. I have, knock on wood, 3 healthy children. I don't know what it would be like for a child not to feel like a kid. And so that's what they do for them. So all the money is going to go toward them. To date, we've raised over $55,000. It takes about $2,500 to $3,000 to sponsor a family for a week of respite and hope. We have Mookie Wilson coming, so it's going to be pretty exciting. There's going to be autograph opportunities, photo ops. Mookie Wilson has legacy caterers, so he's going to be cooking for everybody. So it's going to be a great event. And one other significant point of this event is we're honoring the 20th anniversary of little Harrison Apar, who passed away, who actually suffered from a disease called dwarfism. So a lot of the of his classmates, because he went to Yorktown High, right, Jenna? Jenna was there. You went to school with him. So they're going to be coming, and so it's just going to be an all-around great event for Yorktown. Please come, 12 o'clock, Legacy Field, and the event's free. If you want to donate, please, thank you. But you don't have to participate. Watch the game and enjoy some of the camaraderie there. All right. I spoke about the Grange. I'm going to keep it short. I'm glad to be back after the 5th Tuesday and all of that, and I'm happy to see all your faces. Thank you.
All right, Luciana.
Okay, so happy September. And welcome back to school for all you teachers and all you lovely kids that I see. How many of you guys started a new grade, a new building today? Oh my gosh.
Right.
Wow. I also want to be really excited about our Parks and Rec meeting on Thursday because we're back at it. And if it wasn't for all of these folks that are here, parents of children that have already graduated and whatnot, this community wouldn't be what it is. So why don't we give them a round of applause for volunteering their time, right? And above all, I think you guys named all the dates, so I'll just pass on for that. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to Chloe Katshitis is how you say her name. She is a first grader that fell out of a bouncy house and broke her arm, and she is doing great. She'll be back in school on Monday, so everyone bring a marker if you're at Brookside so you can sign her cast.
All right.
I'm sorry, but this is probably a bad time to bring it up, but there'll be bouncy houses at the...
Yeah. Watch your kids. She's a little thing, and then there was a bigger thing, and everything just went
Not exactly the best timing, but I had to get that in there.
Yeah,
But
no, that
she's-
wasn't good, Serge.
But
No.
she's doing great. Lots of repair in life, lots of repair.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's rock.
All right. We're going to do some proclamations. We have National Suicide Prevention Week, and I'd like for Luciana to please read this proclamation.
It would be my honor. Whereas the week of September 10th through the 16th, I like to think it's the entire month, is National Suicide Prevention Week. And September 2023 is both National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month and National Recovery Month, when millions of people around the world join their voices to share a message of hope and healing. And whereas suicide is one of the leading causes of death in the United States and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 to 34. And whereas in the United States, more than 48,000 people died by suicide in 2021, which is about one death every 11 minutes, Center of the Disease Control has stated. And whereas suicide is the only leading cause of death in the United States that has increased every year for the past decade. Whereas resiliency begins early in life within families, daycare centers, schools, and can be strengthened and reinforced throughout the lifespan, and recovery and wellness encompass the whole individual, including mind, body, spirit, and community. And whereas the benefits of preventing and overcoming mental health challenges, suicides, attempts, and loss, and substance abuse are significant and valuable to individuals, families, and our community at large. And whereas it is essential that we educate residents about suicide, mental health, and substance abuse problems, the ways they affect all people in the community. And whereas we encourage relatives, friends, coworkers, providers to recognize the signs of problems and guide those in need to appropriate services and support. Whereas organizations such as the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention and the National Alliance on Mental Illness are dedicated to saving lives, bringing hope to those affected by suicide through research, education, advocacy, and resources for those who have lost someone to suicide or who struggles. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Yorktown Town Board, does hereby recognize the month of September 2023 as National Suicide Prevention Month in the town of Yorktown.
Thank you, Luciana.
And my only advice as a mental health coach is to really look into the neighboring proctors that we have even here in town, because I know I'm offering space to have tough conversations at all ages. I've already started with my first graders, second graders, third graders. Social emotional learning is important, and I think opening up and having a safe place to do it. And it doesn't have to cost these outrageous prices to support each other. Sometimes it's how we word it that helps our children.
Luciana, just if you could just give the residents out here just an idea of maybe a couple of things that they could look for if they think that there might be something going wrong.
So, Supervisor, I'm a little uncomfortable with all these children here to go there.
Okay.
However, I will tell you that our minds are to hold ideas, our shoulders are to hold our weights, our knees are to pray, and at the end of the day, nothing you say will scare your parents, and nothing that you say will ever cost you unconditional love. And sometimes when we can't bring it to our parents, it's important to have allies and outlets outside to hold special containers that maybe either can give us tools to work through the things that trouble us or to bring our fantasies to reality. Lots of our children watch YouTube, and lots of our children watch all of these internet shows, and the expectations of life sometimes lead to enormous disappointment. Try again. There's a lot of books that say that. Sometimes we have to remember that taking a deep breath, getting out at the game, regrouping, stomping your feet, and then getting in and being a better player on the next round is how we build our self-esteem, because self-worth comes from capability, not self-confidence. So there's a lot of social emotional learning groups. I know that Brookside's offering them, PTAs are offering them. Come, seek them out, and go from there.
Thanks, Lou. And I got to tell you, there's a special place out there for all you parents who keep your kids focused, and that help coach, and that run the Girl Scout troops and the Boy Scout troops and so on, because this is what keeps our children safe. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I applaud you all. All right. First, on our hit parade here for presentations, Nicole Fassi.
National Overdose Awareness Day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll go right back to that. All right, Nicole, how are you?
Good, what's doing?
You are.
Right.
You are doing.
This is going to be very professional, Tom.
Is it?
Stress.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
good
good to
evening.
see you.
Good evening, supervisor and town board members. Yeah, I know.
It's a good start.
Thanks for inviting us here tonight. As most of you know, I've been with YAC for over 13 years, and the program itself, needless to say, has my heart. I wouldn't have lasted this long. So these girls, these families, these players, they give it their best, and they keep me going. It's how I lasted. So this past summer season, our 10U and 14U teams, despite being the youngest in their age divisions, became champions of the Greater Hudson Valley Softball League.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Our 10U team was coached by Curly, Salmon, and Eduardo here. And our 14U team was coached by myself, Sladek, and Pugliese, and Fleming back there.
Nice.
Nice.
So you were their coach? Oh man!
figure.
Oh man!
Go figure. So, and it's crucial to thank everybody involved. We're all volunteers and absolutely essential to the success of this program. Lastly, we're quick, right? Lastly, major shout out to the YAC board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matarano and the Parks Department.
Yeah, Jimmy.
And my biggest thank you, our biggest thank you, goes to John Campobasso for giving us everything we need.
Oh, my God.
He's been a good absorber of heat, too.
And that's it.
That's it?
We're going to do the players. Do you know how much you have going on tonight?
Yeah, we got a lot going on. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to present. Why don't we get everybody up here? I'll present you with the certificates to give them individually, but we'll give each of your 14U softball and 10U softball
Proclamations.
one proclamation each. How's that?
Okay.
And then you hand them out,
Whatever you'd like.
or
Tom.
your crew.
Good.
All right.
So you want them all up?
Yeah,
here?
bring them up.
Here, come on, girls.
Everybody, let's go.
Come on. Put 10U on this side. Coaches too, please. 14U on that side.
Come on, board.
Going through it.
All right. What's going on, Salmon?
We're wearing the same thing.
You stand on the floor. I'll go on the top.
I know, that's the problem.
Come on in.
softball, girls softball team. Ready? Okay.
From who?
All right. All right. This is for the 14U softball. Yorktown Huskers travel softball. 14U for being champions of the 2023 Summer Greater Hudson Valley Softball League. The Yorktown supervisor and town board extends their sincerest compliments. And what I'm going to do, there's an individual for each girl. All right. And once again, certificate of achievement to the Yorktown Huskers Travel Softball 10U. Okay, for being champions. Of the 2023 Summer Greater Hudson Valley Softball League, the Yorktown supervisor and my entire town board extends their sincere compliments. Girls, congratulations.
Tommy, you want to put this?
We have two more, so why don't you do the other two, then you can move it back to the other
Oh,
part.
all right. All right. Yeah, we got another.
You might as well finish here.
All right, we might as well continue with our proclamations as long as we're going. Next will be
Tommy.
I got it. Next, we got Megan Goldstein and Amy Pearl, troop leaders for Yorktown Girl Scout Troop 2658.
Yay! Hi again.
All right. I got to spin this one around here.
Does this one work? No?
I had the absolute pleasure of going on the task that these girls put together. They actually made a bench out of recycled plastic. They took the plastic, 500 pounds worth, and made what's called a buddy bench. Now, the buddy bench does a bunch of things. First of all, it gives you a place to sit. That's always nice. And it gives kids a chance to sit and reflect, become part of their group. If they just need a time out for themselves, it's a place for them to go. It's a very important thing. It's a very community-oriented thing. And I want to thank you ladies for spearheading this with your girls. You guys are the best. You did a great job over there. I tell you, it's over at Sparkle Lake Pool. I'm sorry, Junior Lake Pool. Junior Lake Pool. By the kiddie pool. So if you get a chance, go look at it. And what's interesting is that many of you probably have Trex decking on your deck. That's who made this. They made the product that put this bench together. It looks like a regular green piece of wood. That's really, really kind of cool. That stuff, 500 pounds of this stuff. Can you imagine how 500 pounds of kind of like the stuff that your Poland Spring bottles are wrapped in? Imagine how much that must have been. Who transported all that?
The troop and their family.
Oh my God! That had to be like a tractor trailer load of plastic that you guys brought out there. But excellent job. I appreciate it. And please say a few words on what went on with your girls and your troop.
Thank you, everyone, for having us. We're really proud of the girls. They took a small concept and made it their own. They earned their Bronze Award, which is the highest award that can be earned as a junior and the third highest award in Girl Scouting. The goal is to identify a problem in your community and to plan a solution as a troop. Our girls rose to the occasion without blinking an eye. They used their love of friendship and appreciation for their environment to create a project that inspired not only our troop families, but the community as well. Together with the Trex Company, they collected over 500 pounds of plastic film and received a bench made from that same recycled material.
It's beautiful. Absolutely.
The girls took their idea a step further and decided to donate their bench to the town as a way to extend Yorktown's anti-bullying campaign. And they used the idea of a buddy bench from the schools and wanted to promote friendships over the summer months. So buddy benches were invented to combat loneliness and signal to others on the playground that a student was in need of a friend. So we're proud of the girls that for choosing a project that was meaningful to them personally, but ended up having such a broad impact on their perspective about how a small change at home can have a huge impact on the world around them. So we hope the bench is a reminder that even a group of children can achieve a common goal and make the world a better place. And a lot of these girls are going to be moving on to the next level of Girl Scouting, cadets, which they're going to be starting this school year.
Wonderful.
So the next project would be then their silver project, correct?
Correct.
And then they'll bump up at some point to gold.
Correct.
That's great. That's really great. Why don't we all come on up here? Girls, come on up. Come on board.
Good job.
All right.
You got to start.
Everybody got a scooch down. Everybody got a scooch. This is a certificate of achievement for the whole Girl Scout troop, 2658, for the hard work and commitment to making the Buddy Bench a reality. The town of Yorktown supervisor and town board extends their sincere compliments. Great job, girls. Great job.
Thank you.
And that would be for one of you. All right. And I think what I'll do is I'll give these to the leaders, and then you can hand them out to the girls. How's that? You're welcome.
Very welcome. ladies.
Good job.
Congratulations
Good job.
on a great project.
Great work.
Congratulations.
Your white mind.
Last but certainly not least, Jim Mortarano, and he's our Jim Mortarano Jr. We shouldn't forget that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Superintendent Yorktown Parks and Recreations, and he spearheads the Yorktown swim team, Division I.
It's not me, but I'm here as a supporter.
All right.
Of the team. But I just really want to take a moment to reflect on the community we have here in Yorktown. You know, you see all these kids coming up here achieving amazing goals, and it really takes a whole town, it takes a whole community, from their parents to their siblings to them themselves to accomplish these goals. So, you know, let's hear it for the whole community here.
Yeah.
But this was a great year for our swim team. We haven't won a championship in swimming since 2018. We are in the highest division of the Northern Westchester County Swim Conference, so it's the most challenging out of any other conference out there. But we had over, I think, 150 kids come out for the team this year, which is a kind of a new record, I believe, as far as membership. And we won the championship in both the diving and the swimming. So this is our first sweep of the championship in about 5 years. And we're super proud for all the hard work. But once again, like I said earlier, it takes the whole town, right? It takes the village. Our parent board, we could not have done any of this without the parent board. Let's hear it for them. Our coaches, led by Margit Cooley, assistant head coach James Mazzarano, and our head diving coach Beth Keir. Beth Keir actually has over a 25-year winning streak in diving, unprecedented. Let's hear it for our coaches.
Are they here tonight, Jim? Are the coaches here tonight?
Yeah, we have two of our coaches here. They'll come up in a second.
Okay.
And let's hear it for all of our swimmers that put in the hard work this
Yeah.
summer to bring
Yeah.
So, any swimmer that's here, can we have you come up to the stage here?
So, Jimmy, since you already, sort of put the years on Beth, she was actually my daughter's swim coach in this same league, and as a varsity swimmer for the school for Yorktown High School for 4 years.
She's also my diving coach as well. So
there you go. And a fantastic coach at that.
All right, come on. I do. Yes, we do. All right.
You get this mic.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want Tom yelling.
We want Tom without a mic. All right. All right. Certificate of Achievement to the Yorktown Swim and Dive Team for being Northern Westchester Swim and Dive Conference Division #1 champions. The Yorktown Supervisor and Town Board extends their sincere compliments to all of you guys for doing such a fantastic job. And coaches, parents, thank you so much for keeping them focused and getting it done.
Yeah, pretty good work, Dad.
I'm guessing this will be for you.
Oh, I'll take one.
To hand to them.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, guys and girls. Wonderful job. Go Yorktown. Not to put pressure on my daughter, but that's coming in for her to get proclamation.
No?
Well,
Okay.
they did win.
They did win?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they tried it anyhow, right? How do I end up with an extra mic? Where did that come from?
One, two. Oh, one of them Sergio's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, seeing you up there, you look like Gene Rayburn from Match Game with this thing.
Did I?
Ever see that?
That's good, right?
Half the people don't know what I'm talking about, but that's all right.
That's right. Okay, getting back to the proclamations and not last but not least is the International Overdose Awareness Day, and as Sergio had mentioned, we have the wall. The fence that's going to go up for the remembrance of ones that have lost their lives due to this terrible illness. Sergio, would you like to read that for us?
Sure. International Overdose Awareness Day. Whereas the town of Yorktown does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdose, and whereas in the United States, more than 1 million people have died since 1999 from a drug overdose, and that synthetic opioids, such as illicitly manufactured fentanyl, continue to contribute to the majority of opioid-involved overdose deaths. And whereas we recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as remembering loved ones lost to overdose and ending the stigma for addiction and drug-related deaths. And whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdose are our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, all deserving of compassion and support. And therefore, be it resolved that we pause to recognize August 31st as International Overdose Awareness Day in the town of Yorktown.
Thank you, Sergio. One thing just to reflect on that particular one, and this goes to all the young adults and adults out there. If you see somebody that's in trouble with some type of drug, don't just let them lay there. Get them help. You will not be in trouble for getting them help, okay? Somebody's overdosing, call 911 first. If you have Narcan, try it. Keep moving forward with this stuff until the ambulance gets there, because the life you save may be your friend's. Don't worry. The police are not going to do something to you for saving another one's life. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you see it happening, call 911. Get the ambulance there. It'll be the best thing you ever do. Okay, that's all I got. All right, anybody else want to say anything about that? Nope, we're
Yeah,
good?
don't forget, this Thursday is the Memorial Wall overdose dedication. And everybody will have the opportunity to place a lock on the wall, on the fence in memory of the loved one that they unfortunately lost.
Sergio, they have special locks that are like engraved and so forth too,
You
right?
could get that, right, you could buy them, there's a multitude of ways to, but
Memorialize.
that's what it's there for.
All right. All right, Sergio, thank you for championing that. All right, for personnel. This resolution was passed by the town board on August 28th, 2023.
You're next, love.
I skip somebody?
No.
No, John thought he was supposed to go.
John, how could I skip you? All right. This resolution was passed by the town board on August 28, 2023. Appointment of Janelle McNeil to the position of comptroller. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Yorktown appoints Janelle McNeil, I said McDonald again, Janelle McNeil, not McDonald, to the position of town comptroller, job class code 0060-03, and shall have all the powers and perform all the duties of the town comptroller not inconsistent with law for the remainder of the second year to end December 31st, 2023, left vacant by the retirement of Patricia Caparel, and serve at the pleasure of the town board. This resolution is effective August 28, 2023, at an annual salary of $143,500 a year. Congratulations, Janelle. Why don't you step up here and say a couple words?
He keeps doing that to you.
Should we move that back, Tom? Okay.
I just wanted to say what a special night to be recognized in this special community with all the children, and this is, I think, why we all come to work, and I'm so proud to have this opportunity to be a part of Yorktown as the controller. And I just also wanted to say to each and every one of you on the board, thank you for making it a seamless transition where our former controller, Pat, who retired on the 27th, the next day, our office was up and running, and that was last Monday, so we've had a full week, and it's been seamless. We've, I think, we've stepped up to the plate, and because of your planning and making sure that there wasn't a break in service, I think it's been great for the residents, and I'm honored to have this opportunity, and I hope to make you all proud.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you.
You're the best.
Huh? Yeah. Janelle, you got to come back up, and you got to bring your wonderful husband back up there with you. So you'll be on camera too, Mr. Adam.
No.
So if you'll stand kind of where your husband is, that would be
Okay.
great. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Janelle McNeil,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of
Town Comptroller for the Town of Yorktown
Town Comptroller for the Town of Yorktown
to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Janelle.
Congratulations.
You nervous being up there?
Just a little. Get used to it, right?
Yes, you will.
I
Congratulations.
just want to say, from what I've seen in your first week,
Doing a great job.
I'm completely impressed.
Yep. And I don't want to take away from Janelle's thunder here tonight, but Adam, congratulations on your new promotion.
It's been a good week in our household.
Yeah.
Been a good week in the McNeil household. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for everything you do. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Poet Laureate, now is your time to shine, John.
I apologize for interrupting you. I was going off I printed the agenda that was up online.
Uh-huh.
Tentative one, maybe?
And it's different.
Is it the final one, John?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
My luck holds. Once again, my luck seems to hold. I mean, my urologist over for a test, but I have a chest pain. He checks my blood pressure, and it's through the roof. He canceled the test and sent me right to the hospital. I'm there from Monday to Friday. I have a stent put in to bypass a clogged artery, and I'm scheduled for the valve repair or replacement. If I hadn't been in his office, I would have just blown off the pain. All my life, I've been very lucky, just being in the right place at the right time. It has determined my profession, my life partner, the focus of our business, and made me a writer, college professor, and poet. In short, as Rocky Graziano once said, someone up there likes me. Once more, it seems that my luck has gotten me through a crisis. The main questions now are, will it continue, and for how long?
I hope for a long time, John.
Thank you. Diana?
Only in good and good, Joe.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, I'd like to open the floor for public comment. Anybody like to get up?
Oh, he must have had the old one.
Hi, I'm Walter Daniels, Yorktown resident for 40-plus years, or 50-plus, I guess, actually. This is an unedited repeat of what Jane had presented in March 2021. ATs have been prohibited in public lands in New York since before 1978. Yorktown's current law reflects what was then state law in 1978, which was before registration was required. I don't know when the registration went into a state law. Yorktown's law must be modified to conform to state law. It must not be less stringent than state law, but it can have additional requirements, such as increased penalties. In spite of defects in town law, the town can enforce based on state law. I'm not a lawyer, but the following arguments will not get you off the hook. Ignorance of the law, prior law does not get you a pass on current law, not being caught does not protect you from being caught. The conversation tonight is part of a campaign to reduce ATV damage in our parks. It's about educating about what the law requires and what penalties are for disobeying the laws. It's particularly aimed at parents who buy ATVs for the kids and don't then supervise them. So the message is, ATVs are not allowed on any land without written permission of the landowner. ATVs are not allowed on public roads. ATVs must be registered every year and show that registration on their vehicle. You must be insured for liability and property damage. Ages 10 to 15 must have adult supervision present and must carry a certificate of completion of a safety course. Age under 10, under adult supervision, or on parents' property. You want a really summary of the state law? Google New York State ATV laws. And it'll be the first item that comes up. Opposing town law does not abrogate state law. No matter what happens to town law, you are still guilty of violating state law. You can try to argue that increasing the penalties in town would be a financial hardship, which is pretty hard, given that you have spent thousands of dollars on a vehicle that you knew would not be usable locally. You now know the law. It's now 2.5 years later, and nothing has been done. I have a handout of stuff we prepared at that time, which is proposed changes to the Yorktown law for your work in trying to revise the law to conform.
Thank you, Walt. Not that either Walter, I'm sure Jane's not going to do anything wrong. I forgot to read my little courtesy of the floor statement here that I usually read every night. Walt did nothing wrong. Okay, he did nothing wrong.
Thanks.
As a reminder, you can always contact us. You don't have to wait for courtesy to floor. You can always call Town Hall, our officials, our town departments. We are here to work for you. You can visit us on the town website at www.yorktownny.org. You can find all the contact information for everybody here on the dais, town clerk, even the town attorney, and of course your elected officials. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute limit on your comments for courtesy of the floor. We ask that you keep them directed to the town board, and we ask, as always, that your comments remain focused and respectful. Thank you. Jane.
Okay, I want Walt's extra 20 seconds.
It didn't start yet, so you're good.
I'm good, okay. I'm Jane Daniels with my husband Walt. We live over on Deer Street in Mohegan Lake. First off, changing the ATV laws is a bipartisan issue. It's not Democrat, it's not Republican. The August 27 incident at Hunter Brook Park was an accumulation of multiple times ATVs have not only damaged town-owned property, but also threatened the safety of park users. That incident occurred 2.5 years after I had asked the town board to change the town law to conform with New York state law. Tom and Ed, you were on the board when I spoke, and why was nothing done? Was it because ATV users objected? And did you feel it was too political? ATV creates similar problems at FDR State Park, the 2 Trump State Parks, county-owned Mohansick Golf Course, and on the aqueduct, which also runs through Cortland. For the most part, ATV users know they are not allowed. Some turn away as soon as they see pedestrians, while others continue with an attitude, try and stop me. But they don't stop riding, and the police do not do anything. ATVs are not legal on roads because they're not licensed to be there. They think park property is their playground. Follow-up is a problem. We know that the police cannot chase them for safety reasons. Totally agree with that. But they they need to catch them in the act. On June 22nd of 2022, Walt and I were at Legacy Fields and saw 2 teenagers on dirt bikes. One was dragging his damaged bike across the artificial turf when he saw me taking a photo. He began harassing me multiple times using the F word and brandishing his fist as I just stood there. I phoned the police who came, but unfortunately they arrived after the teen had left. I gave the officer a picture of the license plate and informed him of what had happened. No one got back to me, and I assumed nothing was done, even though I was verbally harassed. I understand that riding on an ATV gets people, especially teens, outdoors and away from their screens. However, not only are they breaking the current law, but they're also causing a safety problem. Riding an ATV on a public property on roads needs to stop. Tom, I understand you're looking at the problem, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are your next steps? And I expect to hear something about it when you reply. Walt and I say to the Parks Department, how can we help you? So my suggestions are the following. Adam, you need to make use of the material Walt compiled 2.5 years ago and the additional information he will give you this evening. Changing the law and cracking down means working with the Rec Commission, the town police, state park, county-owned Mohansick Golf Course, and the town of Cortland. If you shut them down one place, they're going to go another. The Rec Commission meets on Thursday, and I'd also know from Jim, are we going to put this on the agenda? I assume yes. Okay. And the police need to be involved because they need to enforce the changes. You have to hold a public hearing, I know that. That hearing will be contentious, but you need to stand your ground. The ATV abuse needs to stop. Public safety is at stake, as well as the protection of public property. Changing the law is bipartisan, and that needs to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane.
Thanks, Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Paul Moskowitz, Hunter Brook Road, speaking for the Huntersville Association. About a week ago, there was an incident at the ball field on Hunter Brook Road. At that time, a gang of ATV and dirt bike riders had descended upon our neighborhood, and they were using the ball field for their own amusement. One of the people from our community tried to stop them by merely asking them to go away. As a result, the gang surrounded him with the ATVs, and then one of them ran him down. He had to go to the hospital. He's still in the hospital, suffering many injuries. I think that this has to stop. This has been going on not just at one incident at a time, but for the last several years. You might recall when a children's playground on Jacob Road was vandalized by the same group of people. The ATV riders not only vandalize our parks, but they have races on our streets. They race on Hunter Brook Road. They're clearly violating the speed limits, going 50 miles an hour where I think the speed limit is 30. I think that we could stop them. I know that when I complained to the police department one night about a crowd of people who were bashing mailboxes, they caught them immediately. So you don't have to chase the ATV riders. There are other ways to catch them. But people who live in my community are used to being able to walk on our streets. Now they're afraid to do that. They feel unsafe. Living in a town where it's unsafe to go out of your house is not an acceptable situation. I think we have to stop this. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
Good evening, Jay Copstein.
Hey, Jay.
Good evening, Jay.
Two issues. First, if our legislators in White Plains could figure out where they live, perhaps they would pass the legislation putting cameras on school buses to penalize people who pass the school buses. Thank you for bringing them up, Councilman. Secondly, the issues with competitive karting have hopefully culminated with their contract termination. The town board did its due diligence in initially awarding the contract to Competitive. The board further assisted Competitive and its mainly minority employees in trying to meet their contractual obligations. However, the board did put Competitive on notice about their noncompliance. During the latest intervening time period, the board did not remain idle. The supervisor stated publicly that he and the board were planning for any eventuality. Unfortunately, both for Competitive Karting, its employees, and the town, the plans made by the supervisor and the board had to be initiated. I do have 3 questions, though, for the town's attorney. Have there been any negative financial impact on the town now or going forward? Has legal action begun against Competitive Karting for any financial costs the town has or may incur? And has any legal action been initiated against the bonding company to recover any costs incurred or costs that will be incurred due to Competitive Karting's failure to adhere to the terms of its contract? And on the ATV issues, there are other ways to handle it. The police cannot chase. It is unsafe both for the public and for the police officers. Having spent 4 decades in law enforcement, I know what chases are all about. There are other ways to address the problem. I'd be more than happy to discuss with you offline.
Thank you, Jay.
I appreciate that, Jay.
Stop up and see me. Yes, sir.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are you guys?
Good, how are
So-
you?
Very well. So I just came, I had a fast question.
Sure.
Brian Raphael, 2788 and 2796 Old Yorktown Road. I'm not sure if you know or not, but behind that road, or behind our houses on the east side of that road, there's a town stream / wetlands / stormwater where all the town culverts and everything goes running into. And from when I was a young boy, from the days of Linda Cooper, every highway superintendent went in there every 3 to 5 years and clean that thing out so everybody's house didn't get flooded. Now, I don't know if you claim it on your MS4 report to the state, the municipal separate stormwater and sewer report, but that thing needs to be cleaned out. Now, with that said, I spoke to Dave. I wish he was here tonight. He says, oh, it's not their responsibility. It is your responsibility. It's a town responsibility. The town has an easement on it. There's a sewer easement that runs the whole length of that road. And every time it rains, just like this massive rain in July, everybody's house gets flooded, or the golf course that you bought gets flooded, as you all know, or Bob's Barbecue, or whatever. That thing is completely stuffed up. It hasn't been touched in 14 years now. Mr. Lewis used to clean it for the town superintendent or supervisor. DeBartolo and Mr. Eric DeBartolo cleaned it, and it wasn't just once every 20 years. They went through it every 3 to 5 years with town equipment, town personnel. Now I hear, oh, stream keepers, there was money in the budget for it. Well, if there was, where'd the money go? Anyway, long story short, because of this and because of the rainy season, I've been out there breaking my behind, cleaning up everybody's junk that has come down the stream, and has accumulated on my father's property and my property. Tree stumps, tree logs, branches, garbage, litter, plastic bottles, whatever. I go to take it to the town dump on Saturday, and I get turned away because I show up with my business vehicle that has my business name written on the side of it, pulling a trailer. Even though I have a permit from the town highway department for my 2 addresses, and I gotta then leave and drive up to Whisper and Pine and pay. Well, I paid initially. I hope to get reimbursed $234.42 to dump the stuff, which the town should be taking in, since I pay over $20,000 in taxes on those 2 houses. Something needs to be done. I'm tired of hearing of all the excuses. So that's my say on that. I hope you guys are going to come back with something. As a matter of fact, people that you know used to live on that road, the Rosenbergs.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why they used to live in Briggy's old house. And that's why I voted for you back in the day. It's on their recommendation. So I'm hoping you can do something, because it's got to get done. Dave called me back on Saturday when it happened. I had called him initially around 8 in the morning. Then he called me back around 2. We spoke on the phone for a little bit. Supposedly you're trying to get a grant. You just don't need a grant. Send the highway department in there and clean it. Dave says, oh, it's a sewer easement. Well, then fine. Send the water department in there and have them clean it, or the sewer department. You just have the equipment. You got enough equipment to do everything. So, and the other thing I just wanted to say is, during these digs that rip up the road, the water main breaks, and so on and so forth, you should know this. Why don't you guys go and buy a coupler and a tamper that goes on the back of that backhoe that you just spent all that money on? Per DOT, county laws, every job that gets backfilled needs to be tamped every 12 to 16 inches. Case in point, if you ride down Old Yorktown Road, and we're on Old Yorktown Road and Strang meet, there was a water main break there on Christmas a couple of years back. They backfilled it. Let's just say it was 8 feet deep. Never put a tamper in there. And now it's like a goddamn roller coaster when you ride over that thing. And they've repaired it twice already. And it's not just that one spot. It's every spot that they work on. Now, they do good work, but that's all got to be taken care of.
Yeah, your 3 minutes are up.
No problem.
Can you get back on that for this?
With what?
Offline on the tamper.
Diana,
Yes,
I
I'll
think
reach out
it's-
to you.
Other
it's-
laws.
The volume's not on.
Thanks,
It's
Brian.
muted. It's what? Oh, okay.
Don't turn the volume on now.
That's what I was saying.
Just for you.
At least 5 minutes.
Look at this guy.
Good evening, John Campobasso, 405 Courting Lane. A couple things. First, I'd like to thank all of you, the whole town board, for what you did tonight for the kids. I know, there's a lot of issues going on in the town, but to take 20, 30 minutes of your time was, it's really good. So all the proclamations and all that, you may think it's minor, but to a lot of those kids, that's really important. And as a parent, it was important to me. So I have them all saved. They're in my file cabinet. I looked at them 2 weeks ago. So it's huge that you recognize all the kids, all the coaches, all the parents, everybody. Because sports and all these other things and cheer and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, they're all huge. And they're the fabric of our community. The other thing I want to talk about is the ATVs. I've been down the middle on this. I've been a lifelong resident. I know people that have ridden in those trails for 50 years. But the problem is they're coming out onto the parkland. They speed down, the walkways at Legacy. A few months ago, they went around the baseball field while a high school game was going on. While I am for the kids being outside and riding, and I hear this nonsense about taking a $10,000 ATV and running it over with a backhoe, I think we got to pump the brakes. I think there is a middle ground. I appreciate everything, Jane and Walt do. We've had multiple discussions about this, and you can come to the Parks and Rec Department, but until you make a law, there's nothing to talk to us about. We would like to sit with you as a town board, as a Parks and Rec Commission, and have a conversation and talk logically about the laws and the repercussions and the fines and all these types of things. I will say that what happened at Hunter Brookfield makes me ill. As a parent, as a resident, I don't think the punishment that's coming or what those people are being charged with is enough. I think it's disgusting. I think that, what I see with them flying down to it, they put it on Facebook and Instagram, right? So you go on these kids' Instagrams, they're flying down 202. It puts our cops at risk. It puts our pedestrians at risk. Anybody. You could be a young kid who just got in a car. I remember an incident on the Bear Mountain Extension. A guy revved his motor on a motorcycle. A kid at 16 years old just got his license, hit the back of his motorcycle, cut the guy in half. They don't even understand how dangerous it is for them. But I agree, there needs to be a law, it needs to be common sense, but don't blame every person who rides a motorcycle because of this special group of kids. But the charges should have been more, in my opinion. I'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about building and stuff, but thank you for everything you guys do.
Oh,
Thank you, John.
good to see you, John.
Next.
Hi, Tom Marin.
Hey, Tom.
Live over on Overhill, and in the interest of disclosure, I'm also running for town board. First, I want to echo John's comment about the groups coming up here. Those were great proclamations. I'm a lifelong scouter, so I loved seeing the scouts up here and hearing about their project. I think that buddy bench is an amazing idea. Okay, let me get back to what I've written down. I'm supervisor, town board. As I just said, my name's Tom Marin. I've been talking to a lot of residents lately, and they've had a lot of questions and concerns over the trash issue over the last 9 months. Lately, the question I've been getting is about costs. Budget season's coming. Everywhere we look, there seem to be new expenses. Hiring outside haulers to come in to do competitive's job, special attorneys for the AAA lawsuit, a new emergency contract with a new company. We'll have to go out on a bid again unless you've already awarded that bid. As such, there's a couple of questions which I'd like you to consider in order to alleviate some of the concerns that I've been hearing. Now that Competitive has lost their contract because they were unable to fill its terms, as residents have been saying for months, how much could the town stand to lose from the lawsuit with AAA? How much did the emergency contract cost? How much did it cost to hire outside haulers to pick up trash when Competitive's trucks were repossessed? We've heard reports that there are town-owned garbage trucks hauling trash. Well, when were they purchased and how much did they cost? And where does that money come from? Your last budget predicted that a 9% tax increase would be needed just to keep the lights on this year. Should we now expect a 9% tax increase or higher? If higher, because of all this, how much? We'll have to go out and bid again for a new contract. How much more expensive will these bids be compared to the 2022 cycle? Has our negotiating position been weakened because of all of this? And are you negotiating with AAA to award them the bid if they drop their lawsuit? And is this type of negotiation ironically, a legal negotiation, or does it rig the bidding process? Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Good evening, Pat Cardellemi from AAA Karting.
Pat,
You talked about some of the things that are on the agenda tonight. So as you're aware, we bid the contract in 2022 in regards for the garbage service that is being terminated tonight and awarded an emergency contract. Obviously, we have a pending Article 78 against the town right now that we are saying that we were the lowest responsible bidder at that time. We are still making sure that we are making that point that we are the lowest responsible bidder and intend to push that point within the court. As we've stated for many, many, many months, AAA Karting was ready, willing, and able to perform this contract even at the time of the cancellation of the contract for competitive karting. We did submit an emergency bid. At the emergency bid negotiation with the town, one of the things we were told is that to get an emergency contract, we needed to drop our lawsuit. At that time, we didn't feel that it was something that we wanted to do, but there were more negotiations in regards to that longer term, which the town did negotiate back and forth with us in regards to getting a longer term on the contract. Eventually, we did come to the offer that the town was requesting, but once we got to that point, it was radio silence. Yes, there were negotiations back and forth where we asked for more money, emergency fees. I'm not going to sit here and deny that whatsoever. Once we, like I said, came to the point that the town wanted to, we submitted that in writing to the town to settle a lawsuit and to continue service for the 5 years that we had. One of the reasons that we are here tonight is to bring to the point that we think that this is a fictitious emergency that was created by the town, and it is not the needs or does not meet General Municipal Law 103 Section 4 in regards to the fact that it is an emergency. So the emergency arises out of an accident or other unforeseen occurrence, and if anybody here can sit tonight and say that this was an unforeseen occurrence, they obviously haven't been paying attention. This has been going on for 8 months. The town itself has issued a notice of default and sat on it for 61 days. Fined the hauler over $150,000 in regards to this. So we, again, are going to stand on the fact that this is not an emergency agreement. It is actually a sham to make this an emergency. The offer that we made for our first year of our contract was $3.75 million. The emergency contract that was going to be awarded to us was $4.23 million. The emergency contract that we know that CRP bid was a little bit over that, closer to $4.3 million. You're going to hear tonight about performance issues from AAA Karting, which was only brought up after the fact. We were never told there were performance issues. You're also going to hear about the bond. The bond is only for the last 4 months of this year and will not help recover any of the additional fees that you'll be paying in the 8 months of next year. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening, Susan Siegel. I'm here to talk about a problem that I've been talking about for 10 years. And I would say within the past 6 months, I must have sounded like a broken record coming up here, and that's the issue of the fluoridation. This town has been without fluoride in its water for over 10 years, and by law, this goes back long before 1970, before I came to Yorktown. It was agreed that Yorktown, the residents, wanted fluoride. The project, as of, I believe, last January, was roughly 98% done. There were a few minor issues that had to be dealt with. They haven't been dealt with. Supervisor Diana, you said in your introduction to courtesy, we can always call up the department head and check. I kept asking, emails to Dan Ciarcia. I would corner him anytime I saw him at a town board meeting or a planning board meeting, till I didn't even have to say what I was going to ask him because he knew about it. And then it was like went on and went on. And guess what? For about the last month, I kind of laid off and forgot about it and thought it was being taken care of. Until today, I said, I got to go check what's happening. But I didn't check with Dan. I checked with the Joint Waterworks. Nothing is happening, and in fact, some of the new equipment that was put in has been compromised because of whatever else has been wrong. Yes, you're looking shocked, and that's how shocked I was, and you can imagine the frustration. I know the town has problems with garbage, it has problems with ATVs, it's got lots of other problems. But I don't think those problems deal with the engineer's office. And why can't he get this done? All right? It seems like it's getting worse. So I'm asking you, please give him a call tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow. I don't know if he's listening, to hear my frustration. And you've also heard from Dr. Carl Tegmeyer from the Dental Association, who I've been working with for 10 years on this, okay? And he's frustrated. And I think the Health Commissioner, Dr. Amlet, I can't remember her exact name, okay?
It's okay.
She is frustrated. Jenny, you know, you used to work for her. All right, correct me on her name, okay? All right? This is a health issue. We've got the safety issue with the ATVs, and we have health issues with the garbage, but we have health issues with our fluoridation because people are probably not, they assume the water's fluoridated, and they're not getting the regular pills that they need. So please see what's happening and get this. I shouldn't say the word. Get this thing done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Hi, Jerry Schwab. I wanted to address the garbage issue. I mean, the last time I looked, negotiations with companies, lawsuits are private. They're privileged information. They're things that you guys need to be discussing and working on. And even though I'm for open government, the negotiation process and what you're doing with the garbage companies is yours to do, and I applaud you. I think that meeting over a holiday weekend and the actions that you've been taking, I mean, my garbage has been picked up every single time it was supposed to be picked up. So there's got to be other people out there who are not reacting to this supposed fiasco. And I know it's not a great thing that happened, but things happen. And I think that you have been dealing with it admirably. And so I want to thank you and applaud your actions.
Thank
you.
Jerry.
Dan Strauss, 57-year resident. I'm going to reiterate something I've said before. The town of Yorktown is not a dog waste facility. The town of Yorktown is not a giant trash can. So maybe the pigs who do both might reconsider what they're doing for the beauty and safety of the town. I'm going to go to a different track than I was planning to. When I came into Yorktown this evening at around 5 o'clock, I normally don't come into the Heights section, on Commerce Street going towards Uncle G's, there was a young man on a e-bike, straight up. Bike was straight up. I don't know what they call that. He was going right down Commerce Street, straight up. I've seen him before.
Yeah.
I went into Uncle G's. I came out. That same kid came right through Uncle G's parking lot, straight up. I yelled out, "There are stop signs." He took off. Now, I'm very glad that people have talked about the ATVs, but I'm going to use an expression that I have used frequently now. Yorktown is like the Wild West. That's exactly what it has become. Over the last 8 years, I have attended meetings, and I've listened to and watched and said different things about trees. Only a year ago, someone clear-cut 100 trees, and then they clear-cut 100 more in Shrub Oak. No consequences. So I'm going to clarify. No consequences. People do not care. They do not care. Mr. Diana, you said, I believe that the parents should tell their kids not to drive on the public property. They don't care. If they cared, the kids wouldn't be driving on public property. Nobody cares anymore. I'm going to clarify that. A great many people do not care at all. There is no respect for anything. And if you want to fix some of these things, you can do it. But you have to have consequences, and they have to be put in place, and the people and the town and the citizens of Yorktown have to know that those consequences are real, and the people are getting fined $5,000 and $50,000, and you go to every means that you can to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Well, yeah, true. You're good, Jim.
Good.
You're good.
Good.
How do I get one of those shirts? Come on, cough it up.
Special. Special. Good evening, everyone. Jim Pugliese, 355 Courting Lane. Longtime resident, 25 years now, of Yorktown. Just want to touch on a couple of the things. First, to what Dan just said. So I'm sitting there listening to Dan. Dan, you're right. You're right. People don't care. Parents don't want to, parent their kids anymore. We've gotten too soft in this age. I know if I was doing that as a kid, it wasn't my mother I was worried about. It was my uncles or it was my cousins that I was going to get my butt whipped. Okay, that's the problem. So, to the town board, I do think that there needs to be something done about this, and some sort of law needs to be put in place, because you can't police something if there's nothing in writing to say this is what the fine or this is what the consequences are going to be. But I wanted to touch on the garbage issue. Look, it's a stinky situation, right? But you know what? It's very easy for everyone to sit up here and play Monday morning quarterback and to say, hey, we should have done this, or why aren't we doing that? Or, supervisor, you didn't, do your due diligence. I don't think anyone in this room can sit here and say, we don't know that the due diligence wasn't done. And with respect to the gentleman with AAA Karting, I can't tell you how many issues I had with AAA when they were picking up the garbage. Between broken garbage cans, between glass all over the street that I'm outside cleaning up, between garbage left over, thrown in and just garbage pails and everything thrown to the side. I get it. It's a quick job. Okay, but again, respect, right? Respect your job, respect your community, respect the job that you're doing. So I commend you guys for what you've done, okay? My garbage hasn't been picked up. My recycling hasn't been picked up. And I'm not going to sit here and say, why didn't we do something about it? I know that you're doing something about it, okay? And like I said, I don't think there's anyone in this room that could sit in here and honestly say, I know what's going on, because you don't. So thank you very much for what you do. I'm sure this situation's going to get figured out. If the numbers and everything comes out, right now, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. People want their garbage picked up, but they don't want to care, what the cost is or what the cost isn't going to be. All right? So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Ditto, sir, and much more. Joanne Sillick, Yorktown Heights. Good evening, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to follow up on that. And thank you, Supervisor Diana and the town board, for resolving and on your way to a full resolution of the garbage pickup issue. This does not happen by accident, by the many hours of hard work you have all put into this. Thanks to your vast experience in Yorktown as councilman, as deputy superintendent, Jefferson Village did not, I repeat, did not have any disruption in garbage pickup, including recycling, and now I understand the bulk pickup is being picked up earlier than usual. You have shown yourself to be a true leader, handling the unexpected, like hearing that 5 trucks were confiscated from competitive karting, unheard of, but you handled it well. Your experience, that word has value and meaning. Your experience with
with and for the town is priceless. We are lucky to have you. And by the way, wasn't the contract with competitive carding signed by a previous administration? Who was responsible for that vetting? I'd like that answer today, please, this evening. Looking ahead, I am confident that our town board is in good hands with you, Supervisor Diana. I thank you and all the members of the town board and commend you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
I'm Mike Capalbo, and I've been a 30-year resident of Yorktown. Okay. testing. So this week, Forbes magazine came out with an article of the 10 states that are losing population fastest. New York State was number 2. And what was the reason cited for this exodus? High taxes. Not garbage pickup, high taxes. Nobody likes paying taxes. Just ask Vedat Gashi. So,
Good one.
so I applaud you on your initiative to try to lower costs. It should be the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning, last thing you think of when you go to bed at night. So some risks were taken, and there's been some issues, but I know the issues will be resolved because you'll diligently work at it, and you'll do that because you all care about this community deeply. So I'm not worried. It has not impacted. It's actually a little bit better, and I have to get up as early to put the garbage out. So online, I've been seeing a lot of chatter, and I find it reprehensible that there are people in this community that are just using this for political gains. And, we're all supposed to be in this together. We're supposed to be a community. I know you're working hard. I know it'll get resolved, and I know it's not a big problem. Meanwhile, those same people seem to be very silent about Vedat Gashi's juvenile attempt to avoid taxes. So, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but you guys are doing a great job. It's not a big issue, and I know it'll get resolved.
Thank you.
Evening, everybody.
Evening.
Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board, my name is Steve Shaw, and I am also a candidate running for town councilman. These past few weeks, they've been chaotic, to say the least. We've seen continued missed pickups, repossession of competitive's trucks, which is a direct outcome of their poor finances, and the mistreatment of the hardworking folks who do the job of collecting the trash in this town, and right before the Labor Day weekend. The residents saw these problems coming and highlighted them to you time and time again over the past 9 months. In this context, we're hearing even more questions from the residents. I hope you'll entertain a few. You stated that you canceled the contract with competitive carding on Friday night, but I know it's in tonight's resolutions. So what then was done during the executive session on Friday? As you know, the open meetings law requires that meetings where the public's money is being spent must be open to the public. So was the cancellation done in the executive session? And what else occurred during that executive session? We now know that CRP will receive the emergency contract for trash pickup for 1 year. Again, in tonight's resolutions. I hope we'll hear what the terms of those contracts are. And I have to ask, are CRP's financials stable? How many trucks do they have in total? How many trucks are being picked up in Yorktown? Who owns the trucks? And are there additional trucks that will be made available to us in the case of an emergency and for redundancy? The last thing I have is people are concerned about the workers who do the trash pickup. Do we know if any of the workers from competitive will be kept on? Does the CRP use union labor? And are its workers receiving their benefits and being paid a prevailing wage? Do you know if the Teamsters who had to strike under competitive carding were paid? And did you hire any non-labor workers over the Labor Day weekend? Thank you very much.
Thank you. You okay?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm a Yorktown resident. My name is Gilda Aronson.
Hi, Gilda.
Pull that mic down to you a little bit.
Oh, sure.
There you go.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. I just wanted to talk about the garbage and the lack of garbage pickup. I agree with what the statements that were made by the gentleman before me. And I just want to say, the lack of transparency and communication from the town about what is going on with the garbage pickup. Our garbage has not been picked up on time as it was being, I don't know, in the last 10 years, since competitive carding had taken over, has not been picked up on time. And the lack of communication from the town and what's going on with the garbage pickup has been disconcerting and confusing. And should we put our garbage out? Should we not put our garbage out? And the fact that competitive carding's trucks were repossessed, a company that you hired. I don't understand that how you didn't know that the trucks were going to be repossessed. You hired a company that allegedly had the resources to do the job, and all of a sudden, one day, they're supposedly doing the job, not very well, but then the trucks are repossessed and they're not coming. I just don't understand how, in all good conscience, you could have hired a company that, we get a communication that, oh, we just found out the trucks were repossessed and they can't pick up the garbage anymore. I find that irresponsible by the town board, and the lack of communication again about what you're doing about it has been extremely low, and I'd like to know what is actually going to happen. I've been reading that town trucks are picking up garbage and some other companies picking up garbage. What are you actually doing about picking up garbage? Any answers?
We answer at the end.
You
I can't answer during the
Okay,
public.
so how are you going to answer this? In what respect and how?
Probably through the resolutions and our discussion.
And where can I find those, or where are
Right
those?
here.
Just wait right here.
So the process is we have everybody come up at courtesy of the floor. It's been a process for a very long time. It's not something we made up, just so this way no one comes out and says that. And then what we do is we respond at the end, in whole. So this way everybody gets to speak and they get their opportunity. That's the typical process here, or at any, town meeting. And no disrespect to you, it's just that's
So
the way
at the end of the meeting, you're gonna say what your resolution is about how you're going to
It's in the
deal with
agenda. There should be one in the back. And I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. We need to
Okay,
move for
thank you.
everyone's. No
Thank you.
problem.
Appreciate
We will
you
get
coming.
to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
James Mecca.
Hello,
Yorktown. I normally come up and I speak about veterans' affairs every time I come up here, but tonight I want to talk about the garbage issue. Tom, I want to thank you. Once you found out those 5 trucks got repossessed, you got right on it, along with the town council. You didn't decide to take a vacation and go to the beach. And I just want to, appreciate, and I think most people here appreciate the work that you and the board does over here. And I want to thank you. And I will mention one veterans event. I want to thank Ed. You were at the military tribute to the veterans. You did a great job. The singer was great. And myself and all other veterans, we appreciate what you do for the veterans. And I want to thank you and keep up the good work. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Miller.
you.
Okay. Anybody else for courtesy of the floor? Tony? Okay.
He's going up.
Tough as nails.
Hey, Jim, what's going on in the hallway there? Could we check that out?
Thank you, Tom, for recognizing me. We heard a lot tonight. Some were true, some are not true. Some was honest, some was dishonest. I won't get into any of that. What happened, happened. The problem, as far as I'm concerned, is well on its way to being solved. I want to compliment both John and Roy for the advice they gave. Mrs. Grasso and I had a problem with a teenager pulling out of the park on 35. I took his plate number, called the police. The police went to his house. His driving privileges to school were stopped. His parents acted responsibly. That's where the principal starts, with the parent, on what happened down there at the park. That's where the responsible lies. It's your job to follow up. Do whatever you can legally through the attorney that we've hired to get this thing resolved. It can be resolved, and it should be resolved. The other issue has to be handled. Some people get up and say, oh, I've lived here for 20 years, 30 years. I've been here since the mid-'60s. Raised my family here. My children all do well. My grandchildren are doing well. We have between us 6 great-grandchildren. Unfortunately, our grandchildren are now all over the United States working from the education they got here in Yorktown. Again, I've been a supporter of the town, of all town boards, no matter who sat up there. Some of my best friends that sat up there are from the other party. And we're in constant contact with each other, honest contact. We have no axe to grind. We have no axe to grind at all. But when I hear this nonsense from learned people who are highly educated, you know what goes through my mind? They're utterly stupid because they cannot rationally separate one thing from the other, to be honest with themselves and with the public. Honesty in politics, for some reason, from the top in Washington all the way down at this level, no matter who sits there, has been dishonest with the people that put them there. And hopefully, my support of this town board will continue and continue to get you to lead us down the road, which I know you will do an excellent job in doing it. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I realize my time is up. Thank you very much, Diana.
Thank you, Mr. Grasso.
Can I speak to another issue?
No,
No?
no.
One? Okay, I will call you about it. Okay, thanks.
Come on up and visit.
All right, I will.
All right.
Anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
All right, motion to close courtesy of the floor.
So moved.
Going-
Second.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. We're going to skip, being that most of these comments, questions, et cetera, were geared toward, some of them were geared toward ATV and the garbage, et cetera. We're going to come back to the questions that were asked at courtesy of the floor. But I want to go on to a couple of these resolutions first. I'm gonna skip over the resolution to go to the fall conference. I'm gonna go right to from the attorney. All right. This is a resolution from the attorney to authorize termination of refuse and recycling contract with Competitive Carting, Inc. Whereas on December 2nd, 2022, the town entered into an agreement with Competitive Carting Corporation, CCC, moving forward, to provide the collection and disposal of residential refuse, and whereas said agreement is set to expire December 31st, 2027, and whereas Competitive Carting has failed to perform the essential function of the agreement, including the collection of refuse and recycling as set forth in the July 6th, 2023 notice of default and cure. Whereas the agreement provides that the town may terminate the agreement if CCC does not cure a material breach within 7 days of such notice by the town, and whereas CCC failed to timely or otherwise cure its material breach. Whereas CCC committed further material breaches of the agreement on August 28, 2023, when several of its trucks were repossessed, which remain uncured through September 1st, 2023. And again on September 1st, 2023, by failing to have adequate staffing to provide the contractual services due to a failure to compensate its employees. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town terminates the agreement effective September 1st, 2023. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one.
But do we want to open for conversation on that one first, or?
No.
Okay.
We'll open up for conversation
On all three.
On all three. How's that sound? Is that all right with everybody?
I agree with that.
Okay. Next, we're authorized to declare an emergency and authorize refuse and recycling contract with CRP Sanitation, Inc. Whereas on December 2nd, 2022, the town entered into an agreement with CCC for CCT to provide the collection and disposal of residential refuse. That's the CCC agreement. And whereas said CCC agreement was set to expire on December 31st, 2027. And whereas CCC failed to perform the essential function of the CCC agreement, and whereas CCC's inability to collect refuse and recycling for the town created a public health and safety emergency as defined in New York State General Municipal Law 103-4, and whereas the town terminated the CCC agreement effective September 1st, 2023, and whereas the town engaged in an informational procurement process for the replacement contractor and has decided to enter into a one-year emergency contract with CRP Sanitation. Now, therefore, let it be resolved, a public emergency exists as defined in New York General Municipal Code 103-4, which requires immediate action that cannot await formal competitive bidding, and be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute an emergency agreement with CRP for the collection of refuse and recycle on the terms attached hereto effective September 5, 2023. And lastly, for this section of 3, authorize contract with CRP Sanitation, Inc. for item to utilize town-owned Packer trucks for collection of refuse and recycling for 1 week. Resolved, supervisor has authorized to enter into a 1-week license agreement with CRP Sanitation for the utilization of 2 town-owned Packer trucks for collection of refuse and recycling at the rate of $195 per hour per truck for 8 hours in a given day, and $230 per hour per truck in excess of 8 hours in a given day. Can I have a motion?
Can we have comment?
Oh, you want to do comment first?
Yeah, we have to do comment for.
All right, let's have a,
so we
let's do
don't-
the comments first. Okay, that's fine. All right, Ed?
So, a couple things came up and encouraged the floor, so I'll address them with my comments here, because, there's been a question on transparency, which, let me just open my notes, which and I believe it was Ms. Schwab who pointed out the fact that we fall under certain laws and regulations when it comes to executive session. So the executive session, the open meetings law, only allows us to talk about specific things like contract negotiations and legal advice. That being said, we cannot telegraph all of that out. We come to a board meeting and we can discuss it further here and flesh it out. So there was, there were quite a few things that went into this, and the question was asked, I believe, regarding what did we do during the executive session, and wanting information. We cannot give that information per se, but I will tell you, as we open, as in the notes, it was for contract negotiations, interviewing, and I believe Pat from AAA had pointed that out as well. There was definitely a lot of conversation, and we went through some things. I will tell you that from the point of view of, I think someone said because Competitive had failed their contract, that proves a lawsuit. It does not prove a lawsuit. What it does is it says that Competitive misrepresented some things and then had some other things happen, and our vetting process following the procurement is what it was, and it missed some of it. I don't know if you could find everything that someone keeps in a closet, but I will say that Pat also pointed something out that he told us that we could, well, first the guidelines shifted. As he said, the goal lines were moving around. It was very hard negotiation. But he had pointed out at our meeting that, hey, you can assign this, which I know I personally disagree with. It is 8 years that they wanted no bid, per se. We can't do that. That is, to me, this contract is expired. We need to go out for bid again, just the way it is. That's the way municipal law is, and that's one of the things you gain from your experience here. But he said, look, we sued another town and we won. So I looked up, as he recommended, the lawsuit. And the lawsuit, he's suing us for giving the contract to the lowest bidder. But the lawsuit was basically that he sued and won on was the fact that they were the lowest bidder and weren't awarded the contract. So it's very disingenuous when you're dealing with that. And when this was happening, I felt we had a moving goalpost, and I had a lot of issues feeling that we were having fair and open negotiation in those meetings. And the other thing, there were some changes that were wanted, as he had mentioned, and one of them was a weight limit. And we already went through that in July, and I wasn't going to go through that again. So whether he says, oh, it would have mattered or not mattered, it was wanted in writing, 60-pound limit. There were just too many moving obstacles. And then I will say that from the experience of talking with people from CRP, and also from the last go-around when CRP was the contractor for the town, I felt that they had great experience, they were very professional, and they were very courteous. And then when we had to work out this agreement to have someone come in, so our residents did not have their garbage sitting around causing a health issue, they came in on a handshake. They did not try to hold us up for any other things, and I think the comment was made at that same negotiation of, why would I take money out of my pocket from the Carter when asked why he didn't give the best bid to begin with. So for anyone in business, there are a lot of red flags there, And that's where my thoughts on this whole negotiation process went.
Thank you, Ed. I want to go through a couple of the things that were brought up with regard to monetary compensation. All right, I went through this with our comptroller, and we sat down and went through the dollars and cents. Now, competitive carding's agreement at $288,000 per month by 12 months will give you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? No kidding. Number of months paid was 7, and that's $2,016,460.25. The violation notices, 7/6/23, that's number 1, was $58,500. The next violation notice was 7/26, that was $96,000. Remaining amount of purchase order, that's what we call what's remaining for the garbage contract, was $1,594,000. I'm sorry, $1,594,828.75. Competitive carding, August agreement at the August agreement at $288,000. Competitive carding estimated reductions, no service August 3 days, is $39,886. Competitive carding's estimated buyout container bins, $50,000. Capital Industries emergency coverage daily truck rentals will be costing competitive carding $12,005 on August pay. CRP emergency estimated coverage Saturday, I'll go back into this. Saturday daily truck rental and labor would have been $26,280. And then the CRP new emergency agreement monthly of $358,000 will come out to $1,432,000. Remaining costs remaining to be paid is $1.768. All right, leaves us a deficit of $173,000. Okay. Now we expect to recover from the performance bond $1,152,000. Competitive carding at their pay for the rest of the year at $288,000 would be 4 times 4 months. That'll give us another $152,000. CRP carding at $358,000 by 4. Did I go off here? $1,432,000. Okay. Total performance bond recovery, $279,737, with a net surplus, ladies and gentlemen, of $106,000. So we're not going to be spending any more. Okay. Now, the other question that came up was on the truck rental. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes time to get these trucks on the road and to get a plan in place. Having been in that industry, you don't keep, not in the garbage industry, having been in the truck industry, you just don't have trucks sitting around waiting for Yorktown to call to say, hey, I'm in trouble. Okay? And you have to put them on the road. To put them on the road takes time, and it's taking going to the insurance, getting your drivers tested, getting your applications done, getting insurance for the drivers, etc. This takes time. It takes money. They needed a couple of trucks. They are going to be paying us, as I said earlier, $195 per hour per truck. Okay, we are putting our driver in the truck. The gentleman on the back, our CRP employees who are throwing the cans and or bags or whatever it happens to be. If they go into overtime, they're paying us $230 an hour. So we're getting paid for the usage of our trucks. My main focus on this whole thing was to make my residents whole. It was never to hurt anybody at any given time. And to the question about what about the employees? CRP's hiring them. They're going to hire them all, or at least most of them. I'm sure there's ones that maybe they can't, maybe they have, maybe when they get drug tested, etc., maybe they can't hire them. I don't know. But they're going to hire them all, or whoever they can. So, that being said, that answers a couple of the questions so far with regard to what we're doing monetarily at this point. So I'm going to switch this over to Sergio. Would you like to go?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So we had a lot of things going on, and so I know I personally spent a significant amount of time. I had direct conversations with Mr. Cardellemi here. I found most of the conversations, or all the conversations, to be cordial. We were trying to come up with a solution, and I was in favor of trying to get AAA back. We went back and forth on several variations of proposals. I know somebody put up on Facebook that I wanted to take Monday off or something like that. It's very insulting, but I don't know who wrote it, but it doesn't matter. But between Friday and Saturday, I spent a significant amount of time speaking to Mr. Cardellemi on behalf of the town board. And we were trying to get to a point where the town could agree to the terms that Mr. Cardellemi was asking for, and to a point where Mr. Cardellemi could agree to the terms that the town was asking for. And I think we were there. I think we were very close. The problem is that there were additional fees that AAA wanted in addition to the contract. The town was amenable to trying to get them the balance of the contract. We were discussing how we could get that done in a legal fashion. We discussed the additional fees, which many of us weren't agreeing to any additional fees, and I believe we even took Mr. Cardellemi's advice that there was precedence for this, and I believe, Adam, you reached out to Mr. Cardellemi's lawyer. What was that? What happened there?
Yeah, so apparently representations were made that, AAA, I guess, was advised by their counsel that 100% it was clear that the town could enter into the original bid proposal, and I wasn't so convinced. So I reached out to their attorney and said, your clients apparently made this representation. Do you have any case law to support this proposition? And there wasn't any case law to support that proposition. And I'm aware of none.
So anyway, the negotiations continued, and while I was speaking to Mr. Cardellemi, other members or our supervisor was speaking to CRP. CRP did do the right thing for the town, I will tell you. They came in on Saturday. They facilitated pretty much almost 100% of the pickups. I'm sure there was some missteps here and there. But for the most part, CRP did kind of save the day, come in with a bunch of trucks, and cleaned up the town. And so, ultimately, we decided in individual discussions to go with CRP for the emergency because it was clouded on whether we can actually facilitate a 4 year and 4 month contract. If we could give that, and it was also clouded if we could do a full 5 year, which Mr. Cardellemi had asked the town if we would consider that, and I said I'll go back, I'll talk to the supervisor, and we were able to consider that as long as it would be legal. We've done a lot to try to fix the issue. I know I've been very vocal about the CCC's termination, but there is a process that we need to go through. Municipal law is different than general business. In general business, you want to fire somebody, fire them. In municipal law, there's votes, there's meetings, there are different stipulations in the contracts, and we try to get CCC to succeed because that would be the best possible option for us. Unfortunately, that did not happen. When we spoke to them back in July, they did clean up their act. They made some moves in their business structure, and then it all culminated when their trucks got repossessed. One of our stipulations in any contract was that CRP hire the employees. Now, that of course the employees have to be amenable to that, and I believe they are hiring or have hired many of them. The ones that didn't get hired, maybe because they didn't want to go to CRP. I don't know. But the stipulation was that they attempt to hire everyone. Because, the workers, it's not their fault, right? They didn't do anything wrong. They're just there. And a lot of them, need this job. And so what we tried to do is to ensure that they were continuously employed. And I think that's what occurred, though. That's what is occurring. So we had to make some decisions. We needed to get trucks on the road by today because it was a holiday yesterday, and that kind of put us on a time crunch, and that's where we stand. And I stand behind, going with CRP. They really did do the right thing on a handshake and came in and cleaned up our town on Tuesday on Saturday, and that was significant for me.
And just to reiterate, kind of what Sergio said, this was a holiday weekend that we got this accomplished in. That was the other issue that took place, is that you couldn't get to your insurance companies to get trucks on the road. You couldn't get a hold of people. They're on a holiday weekend. And we were able on Saturday to have, I forget whether it was 8 or 9 trucks come in here on a holiday weekend to clean our town. And they did. And that's what we needed to do.
Just two quick things. One on that is that, matter of fact, I recalled an email from AAA that said that if we did not sign an agreement by last Thursday at noon, they would not be able to get in there and do the job. Whether that was a negotiation tactic or not, I'm not sure. And the other thing is, someone brought up about the employees and the pay. Actually, 2 of the drivers live next door to me. And they did get their pay. They missed the payroll time. That's what caused their issues, but the payroll did by 6 o'clock that evening.
It hit.
Yeah, Alex knocked on my door to let me know, hey, just so you know, we did get paid, because I was very interested in making sure that happened.
Yep. No, thank you. Thank you. Oops. Serge, you done?
Yeah, if I have another comment, I'll say it.
Okay. All right, I got a lot of comments because there's a lot more going on than just garbage, but I'll stick to the garbage first. Why not, right? As far as what transpired, a lot transpired, more than I can actually run off and give you a full dialogue of. Lots and lots and lots and lots of conversations, and then lots and lots of notes, and then lots and lots of changes. One of the things I do want to reiterate is that once we vetted CCC, their internal matters and what happened to them as a company internally was not under our control. And that was pretty much what put them under bed. And with that being said, we were open to all options and vetting all options. And when you start feeling like you can't trust, it goes back to that same thing we're talking about, respect. There's also a reputation. You keep changing your words, I can't trust you. I think somebody brought up, I think you guys wanted to negotiate with the lawsuit. Well, like I said to them, and Pat, I'll tell you, if you're suing me, you're not coming to my house, right? Just out of integrity. Like, you want to do business and you want to talk about how much you care about this town, then I highly suggest we reroute it. You're suing me to validate you and your company. That means you're taking care of you and your family. When I took on this position, the town became an extension to my family. And I have a code of conduct that I follow through on. So with that being said, I do want to put in that I think that it wasn't so much a relationship thing. It was more just the terms changing so much. And there was the 250 startup, and if you're a business person, you could calculate the $30,000 in profit minus the months. But then when there was $2.5 million in damages or $2.4 million in damages, like I just couldn't justify that. And by the time there was some normalcy, there was another company that had a great reputation, has been in the same business, is a partner of which I can assure you, if we ask AAA or other karting companies, they have shared trucks, they have worked together. It is a beautiful community when you learn like the actual roots of it. So it made more sense when we lost faith with AAA wanting to honor their word. We had to go to somebody who was clean and came in with compassion and integrity to step in. And it's funny, I think that this is a dirty business. So obviously, well, I guess no pun intended because it's garbage. But even though it's a dirty business, I get it gets sloppy. And there's always going to be complaints. But Phil, you want to come up here and talk about how many complaints we got? My best friend, who's watching me probably right now. Yeah, I know. He ruined our lives. Yeah, come on up. He called me every day. I think Pat has his number personally because of oil and the trucks leaking and this. And I'm not saying that there's not unforeseen. It's like the pizza man might have put the wrong topping on your pizza. Maybe the garbage man was not nice to your pail, like Jim said. But it was repetitive, and I had to go based on their word as well. Do you want to give some examples of what you and I and the rest of the board went through?
No, listen, it's been a long road, and I understand some people don't understand all the legal roadblocks that we had to go through. He was on Adam was on vacation on his anniversary at his dinner table, and how many times did you talk to us when you were at your dinner table? 10?
More than my wife appreciated.
The one thing that I want to say is being a resident is that when they didn't have the trucks, their trucks got repossessed. I know personally that Tom was making connections with your guys' backing to get them trucks. And when they did get those trucks, I didn't get the calls. But then I get the phone call from Ed telling me his trucks got repossessed that night. It's like unbelievable. Some of the other things that I've been asked was, because there was a lot of things going around with, trying to get the right company, and also we're competitive. Now, when we have competitive, they asked me what kind of complaints I got from competitive. Competitive was when they miss garbage, they miss garbage. They didn't have the equipment to get it. I also got complaints from them of being very rude and obscene with phone calls from residents. And the other calls I used to get from them was that
Phil, can you clarify who's them? Who are you talking about?
Right now I'm talking about competitive. And also the third one was that they picked up garbage all hours of the night. But then also, they were asking me what the history we had with AAA. And AAA, we had complaints. We had miscollections with them. I had a lot of complaints about them starting earlier than 6 a.m. Also, we did get calls. These are residents that are calling my office, telling me that they called AAA with the same thing. People were rude with them. But the biggest complaints I had for AAA was, leaky trucks. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Nobody's perfect. The only thing I can say with CRP was they were here before my time. Back then, I worked for the city, and when I went back into records, we have records of everything. You know what I mean? They were pretty good.
Phil, I'm sorry, but one of the residents brought up that he had a laundry list of complaints with AAA. So just for clarification, what did your office have?
Well, my office has, like I said, miscollection. You know what I mean? You're always going to get miscollection. It wasn't like competitive. Competitive when you're miscollection. They were missing routes, not a street. I used to get a lot of complaints about 6 o'clock. They were out before 6 o'clock. I'd get those complaints constantly. Right. I'd also get a few times I would get, the resident would call up. So I called, the company. They were rude.
This was AAA.
AAA. Okay. But the biggest one was the leaky trucks.
Okay.
Leaky trucks was just was a constant thing, you know.
Right.
But
So,
but that-
similarities except for the big misses.
Right, yeah,
Okay, thank you, Phil.
all right, thank you.
So then,
Hey, Adam, could
Yes,
you
sir.
run through a timeline for us of what we endured this past weekend? So that the public knows that, you know, we were out here doing our due diligence, as was kind of speculated that what is our due diligence? I mean, I know that I had spoken on the phone to probably every one of my board members at least 5 or 6 times from Friday right on, with regard to different issues that we had to contend with. So if you would give us that timeline, I greatly appreciate it.
Sure. So just so everything's somewhat clear for folks, the termination and the declaration of an emergency under the general municipal law allows the town to enter into an emergency contract without complying formally with the public bidding laws. Now, it doesn't mean that it's best practice to not engage in some sort of procurement process. It is best practice and it's expected, which is exactly what the town did. So, you know, as everyone I'm sure knows, back in July we had some issues. We sent a notice of default. The town was trying to work with Competitive to work through the issues for several reasons, which I think the supervisor highlighted. You know, they have employees, they have families, and ultimately wanted the garbage picked up, right? So we were trying to work with them to make sure that happened. Things stabilized, and then Monday night, after the garbage was collected, as he said, the 5 of their trucks were repossessed. I heard about it at 5 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday morning. As Phil said, I was on vacation. We were working feverishly all week. We were told that the trucks were going to be released the following day, on Wednesday. That didn't happen. And so Wednesday, the supervisor began searching for options to assist with collection, which ultimately concluded with 5 extra trucks worth of assistance through other companies for Thursday and Friday's pickup. That was accomplished. Thursdays and Friday's pickup went as smoothly as they could have gone under the circumstances. And then, of course, Friday, we had another curveball thrown at us. All the while, the town was engaging in an informal procurement process to try to set up something to take, place if that was needed. And then Friday morning, as was said, there were problems with employees being paid. So that, the town had to do what the town had to do. Negotiations were conducted, as Councilman Esposito and others have said. The negotiations with AAA went a certain way that the town didn't appreciate, and ultimately, it has a resolution before to go in a different direction with CRP. If I may, can I just address some of the questions?
Absolutely.
So I know Mr.
Absolutely.
Kopstein asked about legal action against Competitive, legal action against the bonding company. So, I guess the answer is we'll see. Tomorrow we're going to shift focuses, right? Today is to have some sort of plan moving forward, solidified plan with town board approval moving forward, and then we're gonna contact the bonding company and try to work out any issues we have with Competitive. See if there's anything else that I thought needed to be addressed.
Adam, I had a question.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about the shifting negotiation, but I'm trying to remember, did we have an issue with the last contract as it was coming to, that AAA wanted to renegotiate in the middle of the contract too?
Oh, yeah. Before the end of the last contract with AAA, they came before the town and tried to negotiate and get more money out of the town to continue to perform the services that they were providing. So, yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
I think we did that on Zoom.
I don't.
Was it
No, I think there were several. I vaguely remember a meeting in this room actually.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, you remember that?
so just to clarify, the finances that the supervisor went over. So we're going to move to call in the bond, and I believe by the time we're done, there's not going to be any additional costs, even though we hired CRP for the balance of this year, and then there will be $106,101.03 surplus. Is that accurate?
I haven't reviewed the numbers. I couldn't.
Janelle, is that accurate?
To the best of our ability based on estimates.
On your estimate? Okay, all right.
Thanks.
All right, anybody got anything?
Oh, yeah, last thing, just to, I think somebody made a point, is who's paying for the trucks that were rented? It's coming out of competitive carding's, money that we own, right?
Yes, that's coming directly out of his pay that
Right.
he's owed for the August.
So just so we're clear, the town's not paying
Town's
for
not
it.
footing any. As a matter of fact, the CRP's even paying for the fuel for the trucks. So that's not even coming out of our tank, correct, Phil?
Yes, no. The guys fuel up right at their yard. The other thing I just want to bring, because we were talking about equipment, and you were talking about how, like you said, I mean, I spent the whole holiday weekend with you. You didn't even barbecue me a hot dog or anything.
I know,
but,
it was a terrible thing.
I was trying to move my son into college, so.
Just want to let you know, I got a call from CRP, the owner, today, this afternoon. He's already, only needs one truck. So we were renting him two. Now we're going to rent him one. He's already on the ball. And he told me, Phil, probably by the end of the week, I'll be self-efficient. So just want to let you know, just like, just the things that you were saying about just trying to put the equipment together.
Yeah.
So.
We had to move on this.
No,
correct? We had to get it done.
There was no other way. Okay, the same way is when you got him to come on Saturday, and I was out there Saturday. He had 8 trucks all over the place, and majority of the time he was almost guessing where the garbage is. But he had guys. Luckily, he hired some of CPT's guys, and they knew the routes and knew where they left off. So far so good. I mean, like I said, the board, they don't know, the people don't know, like, how much work and time you put into this. You're not sitting on your hands, and people got to remember, there are legal blocks, which we got to jump through, try to go around. Things don't get done like this. Thank you.
I don't know if there's any other board, past or future, that could have handled this in the way my board members did with me. And I applaud you for that. And I thank you for your assistance, Adam, for your assistance, Diana, for setting up the meeting. But this was a Herculean task that we took on. We took it head on. We did notifications on the town website. We did notifications on Nixle. We did notifications on the Facebook page. We did a Facebook Live. We notified.
News 12, The Patch.
News 12, The Patch.
Yorktown News.
And Yorktown News, that's correct.
Examiner.
And the Examiner, that's right. So, the notion that we weren't notifying people is just that, a notion. We were out there trying to get the word out. No, because we were moving at such a pace, it was an ever-moving target. It was a fluid dynamic that we were trying to catch, and we were doing the best we could do, and I don't think that anybody could do it better. Thank you.
But I will say that the culmination, which is happening tonight with the discussion that we couldn't really have other than a phone call with one person or a phone call with another due to open meetings laws, is quite helpful to know exactly where we are all standing. But once again, there are limitations to what we can put out there. And I think that's one of the major things that people definitely do not understand about municipal law. You're not supposed to record anything. You're not supposed to share all of the things. Fortunately or unfortunately, once things are broken, you can verify or deny. Once that trust is broken, that's and then we could have our discussions based on that, which is what we're doing right now.
Okay.
I have no further comment.
Lou?
I have other comments.
About garbage?
No.
Let's work on these.
Let's do these 3, and then we'll go back to those.
Okay, I just don't want to leave those questions unanswered.
Okay. All right. For the last 3, or for those 3 resolutions that I read, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. we are going to go backwards now to
ATVs.
ATV. Well, yeah, we're going to go backwards to ATVs. Now, if I may start this one off.
Yep, I'll be right back.
No. If I may start this one off, Adam and I have been working on this for probably, I'm going to say, was he still over there? He left too.
He probably had to run off.
Anyhow, we've been working on it for about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks ago, we had a movie night over in the Veterans Field, at DeVito Veterans Field. And when I was there, we were sitting on the bench. Marissa from Parks and Rec was sitting in her chair. And these kids on these electric bikes were terrorizing people down there. So we called the police. And unfortunately, the police were on another call of substance. So they couldn't get there. So we waited. And we talk about kids and or young adults that are aiming for people. It wasn't until then when they aimed for a young man that was walking. One man came across with one of his electric bikes. Go ahead. You can take it. Thank you. Came across the field aiming for a young man that both Marissa and I jumped in and stopped it and kicked him off the field. Shortly after that, the police did arrive. But can you imagine this, ladies and gentlemen, if a young child who was there watching the movie that they picked, okay, it was Super Mario, I think, that night, had been walking across and they got hit. Could you imagine the turmoil that would have caused on that field? Not only doing the burnouts on the field, doing the wheelies, and so on and so forth. Hey, I was a kid once too, and I enjoyed doing it. Yes, I was, Ed. Believe
That's
it or
a
not.
long time ago.
All right, but enough. But you know something? There's a place for it. And I didn't go riding on baseball fields and soccer fields and tracks and stuff like that. Maybe Ed did, but I did not.
I'd get a beating.
So we are working on strengthening the law, giving the police more teeth to do what they have to do so that they can get their job done. In conversations with the chief, maybe it's time that we buy an ATV to patrol some of these places. All right, not that we're going to chase the person with the ATV, but we can identify. And do you know who somebody looks like if they have a helmet over their head? And if you can't identify them, you can't arrest them. You can't write them a violation because you don't know who they are. You could guess, but you don't know who they are unless they take that helmet off, unless you see that person with that helmet off or that face mask or whatever the case might be that they're wearing. So we're going to strengthen that law, the ATV law. We've been working on that. There's a lot of things in there that need tweaking. Walt and Jane, thank you very much. And we do recognize what's going on up there, and we don't want to see it either. There've been it would be nice if we had a place that those individuals could go ride, but we don't right now. So we're going to have to keep copious notes of where they're going and who they are and so forth, and increase the fines and impound capabilities of the police to get rid of these if they do see them. And parents, come on, you have to take charge of the kids. These little electric bikes do like 35 miles an hour. Adam, what happened to you right outside of...
Yeah, I almost killed a girl. And coming out of town hall, and I looked right, I looked left, and she was coming, I don't know how fast. I mean, it must have been 20 plus miles an hour on the sidewalk. And, you're not expecting someone to come that, it's kind of like there's the angle's not great. You don't expect someone to just appear that quickly, when you turn it. And I mean, and then there were two others behind her.
Yeah.
But it was wild. I mean,
Yeah.
it was really wild.
They're 20 miles an hour on a sidewalk, and that's herein where the problem lies, is that it's on the sidewalk, and you're expecting somebody walking or jogging, not riding a motorized vehicle at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Like I said, I'm all for fun, but I'm all for safety too. And like I said, imagine the turmoil that would have caused if they hit some little kid walking over to get an ice cream cone. That would have been a Donnybrook for the record books. You had 250 people in the field with little kids watching a movie. So we are working on it. We're on it. Jane, I welcome you to come up and let's go over things. I welcome anybody to come up. Anybody wants to. You got questions about garbage? You got questions about anything? Come on up. Spend an hour with me. I have no problem with that. I welcome it. So
we definitely do need to do something, with the law, and I think part of it is transferring the onus onto the parents. I think that's one of the most important points, Jane, in your letter, in your email here, and I also did speak to Chief Noel about how we could make it so this way, because I remember I was more scared of my mom than the police when I was little. I mean, that's just the way it was. I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm going home and facing my mom, so I don't think I'm going to do this. I'll see you later. And they kept me out of trouble more often than not. So I think that's part of it. I don't think it's every ATV person, driver, or dirt bike driver. I know that it runs deep in Yorktown, driving motorbikes and for the kids. So I get that too. So there's a solution. We just have to work on it.
We'll work on it. We'll get it straightened out.
Okay.
We worked on garbage, and we're getting that straightened out. We'll work on this too, and we'll get that straightened out.
I just want to mention, so I'm kind of in the middle line with John. I think that it's great. I think it teaches kids, discipline, and if they want to explore the wilderness or whatnot, I think should find land to have like ATV designated kind of. But I think it needs to understand, like, this is again going back to like we were saying before, reputation, respect, consideration, like considering someone else, making a wise choice instead of not so wise choice. You ruin the fun. It's like that one person that ruins the fun for everyone. It's coming up with the laws so that the ones that want to ruin the fun cannot ruin the fun. And together, once we have something that has consequences, which was brought up multiple times, then we can maybe find land where it's for exploration and it's for discovery and it's for the ATVs and whatnot, and do it that way. But I do want to talk to what Paul Moskowitz said. Like, that really breaks my heart. What happened already is just disturbing on so many levels. My prayers go out to their entire family. My prayers also go out to those children that thought that was okay to do. Like, I'm really curious what's going on with them. But the fact that you can't just walk around your neighborhood and feel good, like, that's not only are we trying to keep Yorktown safe, it's a place of enjoyment. And it's a place where you're supposed to be able to walk with your neighbors. And that fear is like bone chilling for me. And I want to acknowledge it, that I definitely heard it. Jane and Walt, I mean, if anybody can help with the law or write it up so it makes sense for the trees, the bees, and the people, it would be you guys. So I'm all about that. So thank you. I know that we were talking about the whole stream team cleanup. Look, there's a lot of water is our next fight. That's going to be a fight. And we're going to lose to water. So we got to get smart on that to begin with. As far as it goes now, Jay, thanks for mentioning, and also Mike, what's going on with our own legislator. I think it's important to know that no one is perfect. No one is not permeable. So that was good to bring up as well. The fluoride, I know. I will dig a little deeper on this equipment. Thank you for naming it again. Every time I see you, I do see fluoride. So I hear what you mean by you being repetitive on it. And Jerry's no longer here about just staying and working together and keeping it going. As far as the dog waste facility and the trash, I mean, you look really handsome in that blue shirt, but I see you around with that bag, and I thank you every day, Mr. Strauss. Thank you.
Absolutely.
With regard to the fluoride, we have finally, we've come to a point now where it should be turned over, it should be tested and turned over to Northern Westchester Joint Waterworks. but they haven't done it yet. Why haven't they done it? I have no idea. We've ended up.
Town hasn't done what has to be
Let me
done.
finish. I let you go. We've done what we have to do. All right? If the equipment in there should be turned on, the floor is painted, the water has stopped, we put gutters on the building that the engineering firm should have done that they didn't do. I don't know. It seems to me that if rain falls on a roof, where does it end up, folks?
Through the gutters?
No, if there's
on the
no
ground,
gutters.
if it-
Oh.
Doesn't it end up on the on the ground?
Yeah, it's
Well, the
coming.
engineering firm, I had to explain this to. Okay? It was very disturbing
They're collecting buckets?
because the water was falling right down alongside the building and infiltrating through the walls and building up pressure and coming up to the floor. It's a pretty simple concept to me. But I guess when you're that, and whatever.
When I first bought my house here,
Yep.
the first thing my father said, he goes, Serge, you needed the gutter.
You needed a gutter?
And he treated me to gutters on my house.
Yeah, we put.
The first thing he said.
The gutters are on there now. The floor is painted. There's no more water infiltrating. What the equipment is doing in there at this point, the town has done what the town has to do. To my knowledge, we've been down there with Joint Waterworks. He's gone over it. And now it's just a matter of getting the stuff in there, get it water tested. And when I say water tested, it's that the water has, they're going to do a test of water in water. So it's just to see how the equipment works, and that should be where it goes at this point. Why it's not getting done at this point, I'll have to look into, Susan. Stop up and see me, we'll discuss it. We'll bring Dan up.
Or we'll go look at the equipment.
Go look at the equipment that's been compromised.
I don't know how it can be compromised, I don't know what,
It's been compromised.
don't have any idea. Anyway, I think that's about it. But you know what, I want to thank my board again for working with me throughout this past weekend, or throughout this past week. It was a gut punch on Monday when we found out that these trucks were repossessed. I'm going back to garbage for a half a minute. And then we got to Friday to find out that the workers had walked off the job for no payment at that time, which made us jump into having to get this squared away. When I had already called in 5 trucks for 2 days, and then we said we got to clean the town. It's the long holiday weekend. I was able to call in 8 or 9 trucks for 1 day. We got it cleaned up. So the notion that we aren't out here doing it is just that, a notion, okay? And
Hey, can I also send kudos up to your office between Jenna and, I'm sorry,
Margaret.
We've been able to really get communication out there. I know many times Jenna's phones rang and it's you talking to me on the speaker, and you know what, all of that communication to us is what helped us move through this process so quickly. We couldn't have done it without.
And those two up there, that was the other thing. And you know, kudos out to CRP who it was like a sea of green coming into Yorktown on Saturday morning at 5 o'clock when I was down in their yard. So like I say, the notion that we are being non-transparent is just that, a notion. We can only tell you what we're doing, and until it gets done, we want to make sure it gets done properly, and that's what happened. So the notions that are out there are sometimes not true. Anyway, okay.
I would also really ask people, if you have a question, pick up a phone and call.
Call me.
We're all accessible. And I would also say that if you, whether it's, for a personal issue, whether it's a political issue, and I've always felt this way, be careful what you say, have conviction, be truthful, be honest. I know someone brought that up today, because there are times where there's, the agenda should be the town. That is the agenda. It has nothing to do with the politics. None of these issues are Democrat or Republican. We all have garbage. We all deal with quality of life. We all want maybe the fluoride might be a little political, Susan, but other than that, you know what, but some people want it, some people don't.
Not by the dentist.
These are all human issues. And, you should really stop and think. I know I've made it a promise to myself not to be negative to people when it comes, especially the political arena. I don't think that's how you meet your goals and your agenda. You're supposed to worry about the people sitting in front of you when you're up here. Thank you.
Other kudos got to go out to all of our town workers, our union presidents and stuff that work. They knew that there's a situation here. I have a good working relationship with all of them, and they all put their hand up and said, what can we do to help? And this is what this town is about. Okay, this is what everybody doesn't see during this silly season that we're involved in right now. Okay, that this town gets on its feet and gets the job done. And it was to the point where I had my board calling me, Tom, what can we do? What can we do? Everybody that's poking punches and trying to punch holes in the paper with the pen, I didn't get a call from. To say, Tom, I got an idea. Did you try this? Did you try that? Did you call my office and say, can I help you out? You know, is there something we can do? Let's work together. I didn't get any of that. So I appreciate everybody that is helping, that has helped, and I'm not going to belabor this any further. So, anybody else for anything? We're good?
No.
All right. Where were we? All right, we're on the resolutions again. All right, from the assessor, we're going to authorize to attend the 2023 New York State Assessors Fall Conference.
Have fun, Kim.
Kim, I don't know. That's like watching paint dry?
I know, I don't know. She's gonna love it.
Okay, from our finance department. Authorize comptroller to pay Jane Hennessy the cash value of unused time as her, as of the date of separation. Good luck to you, Jane. And we're going to authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer from general fund balance to professional services. We're going to authorize the budget transfer for workman's compensation, loss of use payment, notice of decision. We're going to authorize the transfer of, we're going to authorize a budget transfer for purchase of 8-inch cement line ductile iron pipe from Carmel Wind Water for repair of Broad Street water main. And before we vote on this, I just want to talk on that for a moment when we get done. From the central garage, where's Phil? He's putting in for money here. Authorized to deem vehicle obsolete. Oh, no, he's not. He's trying to get money. And to scrap at Brookfield Resource Management or sold at auction by Absolute Auction. And from the town clerk, deemed to authorize to deem old audio and video equipment obsolete and to be sold at auction by Absolute Auctions and Realty. Is that okay to do, Tom?
Tom, please step up to the mic when you say that.
Huh?
Well, it's to get rid of that.
Get rid of the old stuff. Accept bond to, from the engineering department, accept bond to serve as erosion control bond for wetland, tree and stormwater permit T-WP-FSWPPP-018-20 for Atlantic Appliance permit and site plan. Authorize the release of erosion control bond for work being done on 2873 Quinlan Street. And from the John C. Hart Memorial Library, we're going to appoint Kathleen Bahan as a member of the Board of Trustees for the John C. Hart Memorial Library. Congratulations, Kathy. And also from the John C. Hart, resolved that the town's library director is authorized to sign an agreement with D.P. Wolf, Inc. for the provision of HVAC services and maintenance in an amount not to exceed $4,003.30 for services rendered. The term of the agreement will be for 2 years, payable in 8 quarterly payments from August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2025. Did I miss something?
Yeah, the bottom.
No,
You're right there.
Yeah, I didn't get there yet.
Yep.
Then we appoint Caitlin, Etheldana to the position of librarian for the John C. Hart Memorial Library. We're going to appoint appointment of Colleen Kilmick as library clerk for the John C. Hart Memorial Library.
They're busy over there.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, we're switching to planning now. The library has been very busy, right, Kath? Authorize 1-year extension of site plan for Volta Charging LLC, which was originally approved by the Town Board Resolution number 437 of 2022. And authorize the purchase of a granite and bronze monument manufactured and installed by Putnam County Monuments in the amount of $14,998. And we're going to authorize from the police department the purchase of a 2023 Ford F-150 Responder for the Yorktown Police Department. We're going to purchase of one 2023 Ford Police Interceptor SUV for the Yorktown Police Department. And we're going to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Nixle for SMST text message, email, web messages, Facebook, and Twitter notifications. All right, just before we approve that.
For the monument, there was also a budget transfer. You can just read that part, besides the Ford.
Be it further resolved.
Yeah.
You could just make clear you're passing all the resolutions on the agenda.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
I told you she was good.
Yeah.
You're the best.
I told you
Keep
she
checking
was.
us.
I told you
Be
she
it
was
further
good.
resolved that the comptroller is authorized to transfer $15,000 to a budget line 80200479 from the general fund. All right.
And that is for a monument to our Vietnam veterans. It's being separated from the Korean War veterans and given the recognition that they duly deserve.
This budget transfer for from Wind Water for the ductile iron pipe is part of our ongoing project to remove and/or encapsulate the transite pipe that is in the ground and continually breaks. This is one of the areas where we've had numerous breaks, and one house had gotten flooded at one time. We don't want it to happen again, so we're going to put in about 800 and some odd feet of this pipe to eliminate those breaks and those problems. For those of you who don't know, transite is a asbestos-based pipe, so it remains in place, untouched, in place, and we cut into the ductile on either line, on either side of the lines that come down to the other roads that are not. They will not be connected back up to ductile. So we remove a little bit. We have an agreement or a plan in place to try and remove a certain amount of this type of pipe every time, every chance we get. So that was what that one was about, in case anybody was interested. All right, I think that about does it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, Yorktown.
You want to vote on that?
Oh.
I don't want to leave yet.
Huh? Okay, we got to adjourn.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You make me a
All right.